Alright, Stork versus Soulkey. This is like an ace match I would have expected from last season, but not this season, with Stork not exactly being the best StarCraft 2 player, but he did show a pretty good game already today. So I have faith. I have faith, Stork. Come on, bring us the win. This is actually really, really important because right now Stars is 4th, Khan is 5th. They are tied 10 and 9. Stars is just ahead in the individual game score, and of course there are not that many matches left in Pro League. Actually, wait a minute. Khan has only, including today, Khan has 2 matches left. So after this, they're going to play Team 8, and then that's it. And Team 8 is going to be ridiculously hard. Excuse me, ridiculously hard to beat. So they actually kind of need to win today. Stork, you actually must win, or we might not get to the playoffs. Please, Stork. Stork. You must win. You must. Wow, this sucks. Khan's last 2 teams are actually decent. Like STX gets to play Air Force Ace and get a free win, and like Stars gets to play KT and get an almost free win. Oh, this is terrible. Anyway, at the top left, as the red Protoss, we do have the Commander, the Dinotoss, the guy who needs an ad on his forehead, Sung Byung-gu. Look at that handsome baller. Somebody just Photoshop an ad on his forehead and just post it in the live report thread and pretend that it's like an actual screenshot. Be awesome. Anyway, Soulkey will be the blue Zerg in the bottom right. We are on Entombed Valley, of course, which I believe will help Stork maybe a little bit. And what else was I going to say? Oh yes, we have, of course, our first non-mirror matchup of the day. Whether this bodes well or for ill, I'm not sure. Is that the term? Isn't there an idiom something like that? Bodes for ill or for well or something like that? I'm pretty sure that's English. Damn, I'm like frigging D- level English user. For good or for ill, I think that's it. For good or for ill. Is that it? I think that's it. Anyway, we do. Oh no, okay, was that a 14 pool? I think it was a 14 pool. For a second there, I thought Soulkey was temp pooling. I was like, wait a minute. Oh my God, Shine, what have you done? Have you unleashed a temp pooling monster upon Stork? But no, looks like it was just a 14 pool. For good or for ill? For better or for worse? It doesn't bode ill or well, it just bodes. Oh, Stork doesn't get the block off on the hatchery. That's not good. Meanwhile, that pylon, by the way, I didn't mention this earlier, but that looks like a bit of a funny position. It's like sometimes, usually you build it like closer to the natural, and that's like away from the natural for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Oh, I guess okay. Actually, it makes sense now. Because he's building his second pylon at the bottom there. Okay, so he'll have pylon power around there. Okay, that's fine. Just looked a little bit weird there for a second. Anyway, it looks like Pro Guy is going to get chased away, while Stork going to get his first cannon up there. I'm actually not sure if that cannon range is that bottom pylon there. You might be able to get 1 or 2 lings just poking away at that pylon, but just 1 or 2 will be not a big deal. Anyway, Stork is going to see this drone moving up to the 3rd here for Soulkey, so he knows that Soulkey is in fact just going to go for the standard 3 base opening. Not going to do any kind of crazy 2 base cheese. And ooh, yes, I need to update my overlay. My apologies. I was not paying attention at all. It is not Shine versus Soulkey. It is Stork versus Soulkey. Well, I didn't need to change too much there. And it looks like 7x4 going down as part of the wall as well, since that is a pretty wide ramp here on Entombed, so you need quite a few buildings to wall that off. That's why some people actually choose, instead of walling that wide ramp, they wall from the like the corner of the wide ramp. Like so, from Stork's position, he'd wall from the bottom of the ramp, the bottom left part, to his narrow ramp. Kind of do like a vertical wall instead, which is slightly easier to do and slightly easier to defend. But of course, walling like this does give you easier access to your third base. So it's a bit of a those pros and cons of both things. Looks like Wanling has managed to actually sneak into the main here, but Wanling obviously not going to be the biggest deal. It shouldn't really kill any probes. The crucial thing is that it will give Soulkey a perfect scout without, you know, having to just charge an Overlord into the main. At least until that link does get taken down. But I don't think that link will get taken down until the Stork comes out. You can just see Soulkey has it just shift clicked around there, so he doesn't even need to micro it. Just kind of lets it do its own thing. And oh, it looks like it does actually get caught though by presumably some probes were pulled to trap it, and the Zealot does manage to get it. So actually, never mind. The Stork manages to finish off that Zergling before the Stalker does come out. Meanwhile, just going to take down that neutral depot there. And otherwise, looks like nothing particularly fancy going on. Soulkey just now getting his gases since he is at 40ish drones. Looks like 37 drones exactly, actually. And Stork, though, is getting a very fast +1. Look at this. His +1 is actually about halfway done already, and his warp gate is also only about halfway done. So Stork going for very, very fast upgrades, but also going for a very fast third Nexus. Oh my goodness. He just expanded off one Stalker and one Zealot. His sentry isn't even out yet. Look at that. Just got the Stalker to ward away the Overlord so it wouldn't see the Nexus, and has already planted the third. And that's very interesting. I thought getting that fast +1 meant that he'd be trying to go for some early aggression, but actually he's just going super macro mode here, so presumably he's just getting the fast +1 so that he can just stay ahead on upgrades. Look at that, walling himself in at the third base. Going to use that cannon to finish off these rocks actually, and wow, actually that cannon placement then is quite nice. So you can see it's not only is it covering the wall, but also in range of those destructible rocks, so he doesn't even have to use his units to kill it. You can just use that cannon, and oh, he might actually get this Overlord. He does get the Overlord as well. Very nice for Stork, I'd say, so far. Question is, how early will Soulkey see this? Soulkey presumably will at least have a Ling poke in there at some point. Looks like, okay, now he does have a few Lings moving out here, and he's definitely got to check that base. He's got to poke in there and see what's going on here. Yeah, the Lings look like they're going straight over to that third. Well, actually, no, they might poke into the Nathal first. Soulkey, meanwhile, is taking his fourth base, so actually, maybe Soulkey knows about it already. Actually, maybe he saw it, and I just didn't notice. He's actually going up to Lair. He's got his Rotorn, his Evolution Chamber, and his fourth base. And just like the lack of anything really indicates to me that he knows about this third. It's like a force field there at the choke. Stork just slightly concerned with all those Lings running in. He's getting a lot of sentries now, of course. Since he invested all those minerals in the Nexus and also is just kind of in a very defensive posture here, he wants to get those sentries up. And looks like the Robo is up as well, just going to get out that first observer. Meanwhile, the Infestation Pit has just now started for Soulkey, as well as looks like 2 additional hatcheries. Are those? Oh no, actually I think that's 6 o'clock. One of them is 6 o'clock, but one of them is a macro hatchery at the third. I was going to say, is he getting 2 macro hatches already? That'd be pretty crazy. Anyway, Overseer comes in here, just confirms that the third base is there. And looks like Twilight Council now on the way for Stork. Going to be in time for when his +1 armor finishes so he can start +2 attack. And meanwhile, Soulkey actually getting +1 carapace rather than the +1 ranged attack that we usually see from Zergs to buff their roaches. So it looks like Soulkey might actually just try and kind of not really go for, well, I mean, obviously he's already not going for that, you know, Stefano style mass roaches off 3 base. Having gone for that very fast 4th base, the quicker tech, the Infestation Pit already. Looks like he's going to be focused more on just going for a relatively quick hive and just going for like the super late game oriented build rather than going for like some mid game roach play. He's going to get some roaches probably just defensively here just to ward away these zealots and whatnot. But otherwise, I don't think he's going to commit to any kind of big attack. And this is going to be very interesting. So we're going to see a nice long PVZ here, and oh my goodness, that is a lot of gateways. That is in fact many gateway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 gateways being added onto the 4 that are already finished. Stork going up to 11 gateways in total, in addition to his Robo. He's getting Blink now. He's getting +2 attack, getting an Immortal. I don't actually know if he's got a Robo Bay. He's not making any Colossi, and he's not in production either. So is he just going to skip Colossi here? That's going to be very interesting. But oh, it looks like Soulkey is just now getting +1 range attack and +1 melee attack as well, and getting Burrow. And he's got the first few infestors out, not that many, but a couple more in production here. And the lack of Colossi are really going to hurt Stork now, so he doesn't have those super nice long-range units to help pick off those infestors. But he does, of course, have 11 gateways worth of production, so that's still going to be very, very scary, even if there are no Colossi here. And looks like Stork is going to go for an attack just as his blink starts to finish. He's getting a War Prism now. He's got a War Prism queued up in that Robo, so that he can do potentially, I'm not sure, is he going to go harass with the War Prism, or is he going to use it with his main force to help bring reinforcements directly into the front? Because he is bringing a probe with his main force to build pylons, so that makes me think that he's going to use the War Prism to go harass simultaneously in the main. Or he might just use it kind of as a backup plan, as an insurance policy, just in case those pylons do get picked off. But oh! Nice fungal on the Stalkers! And wow, those Stalkers can get picked off straight away here. Nice Force Field though, going down and a big blink back, so it looks like Stork is going to pick off a lot of these Zerglings as well, but losing a big chunk of his Stalker force there. And obviously Stalker is a lot more costly than those Zerglings. Meanwhile, a few Spine Crawlers going down as well for Soulkey to help defend at 6 o'clock, but it looks like Stork is just going to back up here. There's something like 8 or 9 infestors there with 4 more infestors on the way. I really don't think Stork should be trying to go and engage here. He really doesn't have the correct unit composition to engage like this Infestor Ling style here. Infestor Roach Ling. He's got no Colossi. The Immortals, of course, will do quite nicely against the Roaches, but what about the Zerglings? And here we go, another big engagement happening. It looks like a nice fungal going down. The War Prism, in fact, gets fungled, but a lot of Zealots actually being warped in as well for Stork. And oh my goodness, a lot of the Roaches and Infestors actually trapped. A great little trap there, but a nice burrow move by Soulkey as well. Manages to save his Infestors at least, but loses a lot of his Roaches. And actually, it looks like I was wrong. Stork just had enough units, even if the composition wasn't perfect. He just had so many units. The 11 Gateway plus Roman production is just waltzing right into the 6 o'clock base here, and it looks like the Infestors don't have enough energy left. They're just going to use a few of these Infested Terrans, but what is that going to do against all of these Stalkers? Another huge warp in here. I think he might want to try and take down that War Prism to reduce the reinforcements, so there is a pylon just a little bit further back, so even if he does that, he's not going to do too much here. And look at this, he loses his 4th base here. He's making a bunch of Roaches, but I think he should just pull back here. He should just abandon this base and try and not die completely. What an attack by Stork here, just completely ignoring the Colossus tech, just going pure Stalker Immortal Zealot against a Roachling Infestor player. And Soulkey looks like he might have just gotten a little bit too greedy here or something. I mean, oh man, he's got no Lings left. The Immortals just completely tearing those Roaches to shreds, launching some Infested Terrans, but that's going to do absolutely nothing. The Infestors are now completely out of energy. Another big warp in from Stork from that War Prism, and the 3rd base is going to go down here. The 2-1 upgrades of the Protoss, far too strong for Soulkey to deal with. I believe he was only at +1 carapace when the fight started. Of course, he did get the +1 attack as well. Eventually, but oh man, the Stalker's now picking off all of the Infestors here. There's so many units. Stork can just A-move his way to victory now. Soulkey, he cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I doubted Stork. I doubted the commander, but I was wrong. I am ashamed of myself. As a Khan fan, I am deeply ashamed that I doubted Stork. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at the Stalker count. This is insane. This is like the Stefano Roach Max, but with Stalkers. This is a ridiculous number of Stalkers there. And Soulkey is crushed. Stork is so happy because he has just won a super important match here for Khan. Khan takes out Stars and also overtakes them in the rankings. Khan is now in 4th place in a playoff position. They have one more match to play this season. That will be against Team 8. That will be a very difficult match for them, of course. But I now have faith. Stork. We now have Stork, Rower, and Reality. Khan is unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen. And Soulkey is crushed. He's not even going to go out of the booth. Look at this. His team is like walking by the camera. They're going on stage. It's just like Soulkey's just still in there. He's it's alright, Soulkey. It's alright. You still have an awesome name. You still have the best clan tag. NeoG Soulkey is in fact one of the coolest IDs. But unfortunately, he couldn't pull it off. Couldn't do it. But don't go anywhere, guys, because we have another match coming up after this. It is going to be Air Force Ace versus STX Seoul. Air Force Ace is already out of the running. They cannot make the playoffs, but STX Seoul can. They are actually one of the teams kind of stuck in the middle of the pack right now, trying to just clinch those last couple of wins and clinch the playoff position. So a very important match for STX Seoul. Not going to be the toughest opponents for them in Air Force Ace, but we shall see. We shall see what happens. course, Air Force Ace and teammate last season at the end. It was so funny last season in Pro League, right?